Hey everybody, Cloudchord here, back with Open Channels. Today I am talking about the new Tremelo device inside Ableton Live 12.3. It's a brand new upgraded device and I've integrated it into my guitar amps in some really cool ways. So let's check this out. Here we go. Okay, let's walk through the signal flow as usual. We have left to right our snapshots, which are presets, our macros, which are mapped to the devices. We've got a tuner. And these next four devices are really the magic of this amp. We have a chorus ensemble, and the rate and the amount are mapped to lo-fi speed and lo-fi amount. If you put the chorus ensemble on the vibrato setting, it's very cool. It reminds me of the LFO setting on the Wolf comp or some of the presets on the RC20. So it's a great way to get lo-fi guitar sounds if you don't have any of the third-party stuff, and you can just do it right inside Ableton Live. The next one is this Tremelo. I'm going to actually rename it to just Tremelo. It was called Vintage 8s because that was a preset that I started with, and you'll see those are mapped to the amount is mapped to trem amount, the rate is mapped to speed, and then the shape is mapped to trem shape. And if you have it up, the amount up high, you can see the shape change from more sine wave type shapes to more angular triangle saw wave type shapes. After that is the envelope follower, and that is just mapped to the last macro called envelope. What you'll see happens there is the envelope follower is mapped to the tremolo amount, and that's what this blue thing does. So whenever you have your envelope up, your attack will affect how much tremolo you get. Let's try that right now. If I just turn the tremolo amount up and the speed up to make it super obvious, see how this sounds. See how that bounces there? We can change it a little bit. That's cool. So you see how in the attack we get a drrr and then it chills out because the envelope dies and then the tremolo decreases. Super cool. Play with that. It's going to sound different on different parts. We can also use it just sparingly. After that, we have the LFO device. Now, what's that doing? So the rate is mapped to the LFO rate, and then the depth is mapped to the LFO depth. And where is that mapped to? Well, if you look over here, this says offset. That is mapped to this little phase offset in the tremolo device. So what that's going to do is it's going to change the phase of your tremolo. It's a pretty wild thing. Okay, here's a cool example of that. See that the phase of the tremolo LFO shape is changing throughout. Okay, further into here, we have the amp and the cabinet. I have the cabinet set on the 4x10 speaker. That sounded the best for these. And inside the amp, that is mapped to amp type. So you can play around with this to get different amp types and different just core tones. After that, we have saturator and warm tube just to warm it up a little bit. Then we have our delay, which is mapped to the delay macros. We have glue compressor, which just gives us a little bit of makeup gain. Then we have hybrid reverb and a limiter at the end. Okay, here's some of my favorite snapshots. Let's look at this clip called chords. You can see it's just 4 simple chords. And on the super clean setting, you can just hear what I actually played without any bells and whistles. All right, now that same clip on Echo Tunnel. So this is using the LFO and the envelope. Spaghetti Western, it's going to give us a more pronounced, obvious tremolo with a bunch of reverb. I've even heard some Spaghetti Western get some more angular tremolo sounds, so you could play with that, turn up your tremolo amount a little bit. Let's see how that sounds. That's kind of interesting. LFO and attack. So what this is doing is it has an LFO, and then the envelope follower is giving us a little bit of swell. And you can hear the reverb pop on that one. That's cool. Another one with a swell is called the auto swell snapshot. Let's check this out. That's nice. How about lo-fi? That's got the lo-fi amount turned all the way up, and then we've got some envelope. So again, remember the envelope follower is mapped to this envelope macro, and all that's doing is turning on the tremolo or boosting the amount with the amount of gain that you give it. And that's why we see this little blue signal right here. The more envelope you have turned up in the macro, the more blue you're going to see here, and then the more you're going to see your tremolo reacting. So it's really a 1-2 punch of this affects this. Here's kind of a trippy delay one called Horizon. Here's Wavy. That's our lo-fi, our chorus ensemble, with a little bit of that tremolo envelope. All right, here's a good weird one called Boing. This has the lo-fi tremolo and some LFO. Wiggles. There we go. With that in mind, this is a fun one. Single notes. Wild. Okay, so I've done all these with the chords clip, but I did a little bit of arpeggiations. Much cleaner. Last one, little wiggles. That's nice. Cool. Thanks for watching this one. In summary, your pink lo-fi macros affect your chorus ensemble. The tremolo amounts will affect the tremolo, which is the heart and soul of this amp, thus called tremolo. And then our LFO will affect the phase of the tremolo. And then last but not least, which I think is the secret weapon of this whole thing, is the envelope follower, which will trigger your tremolo amount. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Link in the download.